Well, Republicans lost really badly in this recent election. You know why? Because their voters were too happy to vote.
Voter turnout from Republicans was not high. Not high at all. But I think part of that reason is because Republicans, for the most part, are happy with what's happening. The border's closed, crime is down. Inflation under Biden used to be 9%. It's now down to 3%. Interest rates are down, mortgages down. Let me just finish. Let me just give you the other side. I shop at the same grocery store as everybody else does.
So you see prices are up.
Is there more work that needs to be done? Absolutely there is. That's why in the working families tax cut, we did just that. We voted not to raise everybody's taxes. Very different than what the Democrats did. So I think there's two sides of the coin that you have to take a look at. What is an incumbent on us is we must make sure that we get our voters to turn out like they did in the election year. No question.
Using that argument, your voters could be so happy that the Democrats take control of the House of Representatives next year.
That's right, folks. That was Republican Congresswoman McClain saying they are so good that their people are like, nah, we're happy. We don't need to go out and vote against the other side. We love everything Republicans are doing. And even Kayleigh McEnany will tell you about it.
Last night, blue politicians won in blue cities. Do we need to get the messaging right heading into the midterms? Yes. But Donald Trump's methods, again, are working. Joe Biden's took us to 9.1% inflation. I've got the data, I've got the facts, and President Trump, I guarantee you, is going to share those facts in about 51 minutes.
Your takeaways.
Well, look, Democrats didn't just win in blue places. They broke the supermajority in the Mississippi state legislature. They flipped seats in Texas that had never even been competed recently. They, in parts of Virginia that are deep red, the average, I think, was 6 points towards Abigail Spanberger. In New Jersey, Mikey Sherrill got a bigger margin than Governor Murphy did a couple years ago. So it's not just that we won in blue places. Democrats won all over the country. And I think a few things are clear. Number one, when Donald Trump himself is not on the ballot, his ideas don't win. And all of these candidates, look, Mikey Sherrill, Abigail Spanberger, very different candidates than Zohran Mamdani. They are moderates. They worked in the national security field, but they talked about affordability. And Donald Trump himself even admitted the shutdown, the Republicans are getting blamed for it, and that they needed to talk more about affordability.
Kayleigh McEnany used to be the press secretary under Trump 1, and now she's on Fox just making things up because that other lady was like, no, dude, a lot of red places also voted for the Democrats. So get your facts and then let's talk. And here's Brett Baer explaining that.
You can say that these states were traditionally blue, but you can also say that heading in, there was some thought that, especially in New Jersey, that Ciattarelli would do better. The spreads here are surprising. Maybe not the results, but the spreads. And if you look inside the numbers, there are some dangerous things. One, young women overwhelmingly in New Jersey and Virginia supported the Democrat based on economy, on immigration, maybe those ICE images. The affordability push by Mamdani really sticks. And that's basically inflation and how people feel about the economy. So this dichotomy between how Wall Street's doing and how big business is doing and how you feel about it at home is something Republicans really have to look at.
There you go. Just laying it out kind of stoically, being like, look, man, it's not looking good for us because we're not doing well on the economy at all. A lot of the stuff we said we're going to do, we didn't do. Prices are up. People are feeling it. I'm telling you, it's not looking good. But if you listen to Speaker Mike Johnson, he's saying, wait till later, it's going to get better.
Mr. Speaker, people were unhappy about the economy a year ago when Trump won, and they seem to blame Democrats then. People are unhappy about the economy still, and they just blamed Republicans across the board. If you look at the map, it's all blue. So did the GOP fall into a mission accomplished trap and overhype progress on the economy?
No, remember that we're trying to dig out from 4 years of terribly backwards policy. You don't flip a switch and do that overnight. And we did try to temper expectations on that. But the reason I'm so bullish about the midterm election next year is that by the time we get to November, and I think early in the year, after really the first quarter, you will begin to see the economic lift from the policies that we have enacted. We fulfilled our promises. The one big beautiful bill, the Working Families Tax Cut, it was like jet fuel for the U.S. economy, filled with pro-growth policies, filled with lower taxes. People will begin to see all that And I think more jobs, higher wages, and lower inflation will be the result of that.
There's Mike Johnson doing the old, just give it a week or two, it'll get better. That's like when Donald Trump always says, I'll be doing something in 2 weeks, and it just doesn't happen. That's Mike Johnson saying, give it a little while, it'll get better. We passed that bill that gave tax breaks to billionaires, but I'm going to tell you that it actually gives tax breaks to everybody, but it's really the billionaires that are getting their taxes taken care of for ever and ever. That's Mike Johnson, who you can trust. He looks like a very trustworthy kind of guy. Not.
This is a Republican shutdown, my friend. You are in control of the White House. You are in control of the House, and you are in control of the Senate.
And if you went home to a food bank instead of going to Mar-a-Lago to eat at a gold-plated dinner while people are starving, you might see and hear your constituents, sir. You are blind to the suffering of your people.
And there's Senator Jackie Rosen telling this other senator that you are not paying attention to what's going on. You're at Mar-a-Lago having a party. You're not listening to your people. You're not having town halls. Republicans have basically shut down the government and they took off. And then they're trying to blame the Democrats for the shutdown. Famously, when a shutdown happened under Obama, it was Donald Trump who said, the president is in charge and is supposed to be making a deal, having to make a deal. And now Trump and the Republicans have been trying to say that it's the Democrats' fault that there's a shutdown. But in reality, they have the presidency, they got the Senate, and they got the Congress. They should be trying to make a deal. Congress disappeared. All the Republican Congress people just left. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they're in Cancun. We don't know where they are, but they've gone away. Even Donald Trump, after the election loss, said that this shutdown hurt us. Yes, because people are blaming Republicans for this shutdown. Because Republicans, basically the shutdown is all about the fact that they are trying to cut subsidies to the Affordable Care Act. And Democrats finally grew a spine and said, we are not going to fund the government if you're going to make it so that the healthcare cost for all these people is going to go up. And then the Republicans said, you know what? Fund the government, and we promise in like a month or two, we will put those costs lower. But they're not going to, because you can't trust this Republican Congress or Senate. And so here we are. People are suffering. And the results we saw at the election. Across the board, Democrats won. Because people now see, anytime somebody leads, you're saying to that person, here's the ball, show me what you can do. Mike Johnson, in the clip we saw earlier, said, it takes time for us to turn the economy around. Donald Trump said day one he's going to lower prices. What did he do? He made them go higher. He's continuously sabotaged our economy with his stupid tariffs that nobody in the Republican Party had the balls to tell him this is not a good idea. It's not going to look good for us at all. And the way tariffs work, they're supposed to bring in money that will basically help fund certain things that goes to the government, right? And so the idea is that these countries will be tariffed. Well, who do you think the country's going to pass the prices down to? If China is selling washing machines to Home Depot or Lowe's, who do you think the price is going to, Home Depot or Lowe's will have to pay that price. They might be able to pay the price and hold on to it for a little bit, but eventually they got to raise the price. You and I pay for those tariffs. So here we are. And the economy is suffering. And we're seeing, like we saw somebody talking about, we're seeing the ICE showing up in cities and just tackling people that are working just because they're brown and have a Spanish accent of some sort. We see that. We see the military in certain cities. We see that our foreign policy is, we're a laughingstock. Donald Trump says he's solved 8 wars, one of them between Albania and Azerbaijan, and he meant Armenia and Azerbaijan. We're the laughingstock. And so people looked at all that and they finally said, you know what, in this election, we are going to they voted for Zoran Mamdani, which obviously in New York City, we expected that to happen. But by the way, remember, Zoran Mamdani wasn't around a year ago. He rose fast because he's talked about lowering costs, as well as those 2 governors in Virginia and New Jersey. They talked about lowering costs, and ultimately people will vote with their pocketbook. People want to be able to go out and afford groceries. They want to be able to afford a trip with their families during the holidays. They want to be able to afford that stuff. And right now, you can't afford any of that stuff because prices are going up. This lockdown has been continuing. People are getting laid off. They did the Doge cuts and laid off a bunch of people. So they really have screwed our economy. And also, the people that they're deporting, originally they're supposed to be 20 million violent criminals are going to be deported from this country. And they quickly found out there are not 20 million violent immigrant criminals that are here undocumented. And so they started going after people in farms and in restaurants and at Home Depot, because Stephen Miller said we need to deport 3,000 people a day. This is all a reality that's happened in 1 year. I'm not saying the economy was good coming out of Biden. The economy was still not as good as it needed to be, but it was moving in the right direction. But to come in and throw all of these wrenches into the wheels, you and I are paying for it, and we're suffering and seeing these costs go up, and we're suffering and seeing our fellow human beings be tackled and tased and handcuffed in public because they just have brown skin. We are seeing so much stuff that led to this shellacking, really, at this recent election. And hopefully this is all a preview of what's to come in 2026, except they're trying to now cheat and gerrymander and add more and more seats for the Republicans so they can hold on to the House. Now, fortunately in California, we voted to allow the redistricting to be able to counter the number of seats that Texas had taken away. And now it falls on other Democratic states to hopefully counter these other red states. We're in this crazy, unparalleled time where they are just trying to cheat in the middle. You're supposed to redistrict every 10 years during the census, when the census comes in, based on the population growth or decrease in a specific state. But Donald Trump saw that he was going to lose the midterm elections, so he told Greg Abbott over there in Texas to go ahead and gerrymander, go ahead and do it now, redistrict now, so that we get 5 seats back. So it's all very dirty. This guy's the dirtiest president or dirtiest leader we've ever had. He's trying to play dirty games. He played dirty in 2020 when he lost. He called the Secretary of State over there in Georgia and said, find me 11,000 votes. He doesn't care. You think he cares about America or you or me? He does not care. He cares about his own pocketbook, and this past election he lost. Hey, the other thing we got to notice, Republicans did not come out claiming election fraud. You got to beat them badly so they cannot claim election fraud. That's what you got to do. So in the midterms, make sure you're registered, make sure you go out, and make sure that we give them a shellacking so that they know that we want basically for them to think, to work for us, not for the billionaires, for us. And if you're a billionaire watching this, then for you too. Guys, I'm comedian Maz Jobrani. I've got a page right here on YouTube. It's at Maz Jobrani. Give it a follow. Let me know you came over from Rebel HQ. Also, I'm touring all over the country doing stand-up comedy. Come see me live. Let's have a laugh. We all need it. Take care and register. Make sure to vote.